and Dwayne Wade right at the bottom of Anderson Varejao. Welcome to your Kodak moment, Anderson Varejao.
Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 3OT. It's been a bit of a while since our last show. We've had some technical difficulties over here, but we are back. You know, we're halfway through most series in the playoffs, with the Lakers and Blazers being the only series as of the recording of this show that haven't had the first two games yet. But we're going to talk about that a little bit. And I'm here with, as I usually am, Patrick.
Yep.
And Kevin.
Yep.
So let's start it out on the Eastern Conference. The Bucks, who are playing as we speak, lost Game 1 to the Magic. Is this something to be worried about?
No,
No?
no, not at all.
I'm not just talking about this series. I'm talking about in the playoffs. Is the performance of Chris Middleton, George Hill, no one showing up. Is that something to worry about?
I feel like Chris Middleton is good enough for them to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, but whoever they play there, whether it's probably be the Raptors.
It'll either be the Raptors or the Celtics.
Yeah, if they play the Raptors, I feel like Chris Middleton, if he is the way he is now, I feel like they'll be at a disadvantage, a very heavy disadvantage. And they could lose, or they might go to 7. I don't know, but I could definitely see the Raptors beating them.
I mean, I hope you guys remember that I chose the Raptors as my representative from the Eastern Conference. But
I mean, it is.
Raptors too.
It's likely. It's likely.
The
I mean, the
Raptors
problem
know
that
how
I'm
to guard Giannis, but
yeah, but I mean, look, I mean, the problem with the Bucks that I still see is that like just most of their players are inconsistent. Like they'll have great games to support Giannis, but if they don't have great games, I think like they go on long stretches of like just doing very poorly, and I could see them losing a series to the Raptors so that Fields' prediction can come true.
I've been saying this for the past few weeks, but it looks like we are seeing in real time as Giannis outgrows the Bucks. Because sure, they've built something around him, but they haven't built something that's good in the playoffs too. They've built something that in the regular season they've built to Giannis's strengths, but they become super one-dimensional in the playoffs.
Yeah, like, I mean, if Chris Middleton was more of a
if Chris
playoff
Middleton
player,
was someone different, like Jason Tatum, not like that player exactly, because there's no way they would have gotten him, but like if that kind of player who can actually do something outside of just make spot up threes, ball handle in the pick and roll, and then shot create on occasion. If they had this player that could also,
they need a second star.
Yeah,
like a lower
they need the
star.
12th best player in the league. That's what they need.
Yeah.
Kevin, shut up. I mean, I don't think we saw two of the worst max contracts ever this past offseason in Tobias Harris and Chris Middleton, because both teams were
Tobias Harris is a lot worse, though, I would say. Tobias Harris is a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean,
at least Middleton will play defense, even though his scoring is going to be like extremely inconsistent. At least he plays defense. If Tobias isn't scoring, he's essentially useless because he can't move his feet.
If Tobias isn't scoring, he's sitting there like, I don't know.
He can't move his feet. Yeah,
and
he's not especially strong. He's just big. So
yep.
Nobody's really struggling to score against him. So his whole thing is to score. But
can I
if
ask,
we can't even do that right, not them.
Yeah.
Is there any team as disappointing as the Sixers? Because I genuinely don't think there is. Like I mean, you have all these big names, and then you just look at the roster construction, and you're like, nope, this at no point did this fit. And they really had it figured out with JT Redick, Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid, and Ben Simmons. That should have been the four going forward. And then they got greedy and they traded for Tobias Harris, and that didn't work out at all. And then Jimmy left, and then they forced JT to sign Al Horford.
I do think that if Ben Simmons was healthy this series, it would be a close series. I do think so. Because Ben Simmons is really good at guarding Tatum.
I mean, Ben Simmons is the best defender on that team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they could, because right now he's not seeing nobody right now. Tatum's just going off, and he's resting on defense.
Yeah, I mean, the only defender they got to put on him is Thibault.
Yeah, that's not gonna work. And Thibault isn't making Tatum work on the other end.
Yeah,
You can't just have somebody playing defense. Like you gotta have them going at him. So
I feel like
Tatum's
the
just
only thing that's
wrestling.
gone right for the Sixers is that, Gordon Hayward got hurt, and they're not even maximizing that loss.
Yeah.
I mean, Gordon Hayward is just one of them. They already have Tatum and Brown. He's just another wing.
Don't forget Walker.
Yes.
Yep.
Don't forget Semi Ojeleye either.
Oh
I'm
my
kidding.
god.
I'm kidding.
And they still got Marcus Smart.
Yep.
Forget about Marcus Smart. Even though he's not shooting that well, but they still got him.
I know that whole team is just a mess.
What would you do if you were trying to fix up the Sixers this offseason? What would you do?
Fix up the Sixers. I would get rid of Horford. I would trade Horford.
What do you think you can get for Horford? Because I think it's next to nothing.
Probably like a couple second rounders and maybe like a.
Because his contract is so bad. And
Yeah, I think you'd have to take back a bad contract.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you trade Al Horford to the Hornets for Nicholas Batum, and you give up a first with that, because that's how bad Al Horford's contract is, I think you could do that. And Batum probably fits this team a little better, but like,
I don't know. If it comes down to it, they could try and trade Embiid or Simmons. In all honesty.
who would you trade between those two?
I'll probably trade Embiid because you get more from Embiid, but you could trade. Honestly, you could trade either one because one has to go.
Kevin, who would you trade, and what would you try to target in terms of getting back?
See, it's difficult because I mean I understand y'all points when y'all say that y'all could probably get more from Beat because that's definitely true, but I feel like he's just a better player to build around. Even if he's a lot more, even if he's a lot more injury prone, I still think the amount of value you can get back with Simmons would be enough for you to build around Embiid and potentially get like a good team going from there. If you were to just trade Embiid, you can get a bunch of pieces, but like
years of his career though.
What happened?
Embiid missed the first 3 years of his career. He was drafted 2014. He didn't play more than 20 games in a season until 2017.
But he's here now, which is what I'm worried about. And then I'm just gonna be worried about if he's gonna be there for me in the future.
I think success with Simmons is so much more sustainable, and I would rather have like a superstar that I can build around for the next 9 years than a superstar I can build around for the next 4.
I mean, it honestly depends. Because
I mean, it's more sustainable, but it's gonna be much more harder to be successful.
I mean, the problem people have with Simmons is that it doesn't look like getting his shot anytime soon. So
I mean,
the league might be outgrowing him.
Even without being able to make that shot, he's still incredible.
Yeah, he is incredible. But I just don't
feel
feel like
defender. He's a top tier playmaker. His height.
But I don't know if you can have somebody like that lead your team. I don't know if he could be the best player on the team.
Yeah.
Hear me out. If you put him in
a
system like the Kings had last year, except he plays like the De'Aaron Fox role, I think he could legitimately be incredible.
Like, he could be incredible, but he's not. Tito, you can't give him the ball and say score for 5 straight possessions. You can't do that. That's not his.
But can he be you can't do that with Embiid either. I mean, sorry, with.
You could do that.
I meant. Well, you can't do that with Giannis, but I also think you can't really do that with Embiid
because Giannis, it depends.
Getting Embiid the ball is so hard in the post, and that's where he can score.
Well, yeah, with the way the team is now, is incredibly hard. That's why they need to change the team because there's no spacing. Everybody's trying to post up, and there's no shooting.
And even when there is spacing, they don't even get the ball. I remember last night there was a couple times when he was open on 3-point. Yeah, he was open on 3-point line, and he couldn't. No one could get the ball to him. They would just be penetrating, and then they would throw the ball away. They wouldn't even get the ball to him.
I mean, he also doesn't work hard on establishing position at all.
Yeah,
they need to get him down. He gets the ball in the high post. They need to get him the ball when he's right there. in the low post, right there by the rim, because they have no time to double him then. Like, it's
Yeah.
not that hard to guard Embiid if you could just help. 'Cause like, if you're just going to just help every time, like, who's he going to pass to? Tobias Harris? Shake Milton? Like, nobody has a problem doubling Embiid. They need to get him the ball in the low post. So he can
I
just
asked
go right
this
to his shot.
because I asked this because Kevin O'Connor from The Ringer has been bringing it up constantly. But how would a Chris Paul trade for the Sixers work?
Honestly, I think Chris Paul would be great for that team.
It would help. It would help him get back into the post instead of having to kick out every single time in the 3-point line and not getting the ball and having him just be useless for more plays. I'd say that would help. I'm not yet.
I mean,
see that
it does give them that extra like on ball shot creation like that Ben Simmons doesn't offer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I feel like they need that desperately. Like, they need shot creation desperately.
The question is how they could make it work though. Like, what type of team needs Tobias Harris? Because that's how you would have to make that deal work. Because no one's taking out Horford.
That is true.
Like, you
I don't
think
know. I think
do you
they
think
dug
the
themselves
Suns
a
would take
hole.
Tobias Harris and give up on like one of their wings and send that wing to the Thunder?
I don't know too. I think they dug themselves a real hole by getting out
They did.
Horford.
Yeah.
I don't really know if they can fix that.
They probably just have
That
to extend that contract or do something with it. I don't know. They have to give a lot of like picks because I think not even with the Suns because I don't think the Suns would want to try to. They're getting a good thing going. They went undefeated in the bubble just now, and I don't think they want to ruin it by taking on a big ass contract.
Well, I meant they get Tobias Harris, not Al Horford. I think the Al Horford contract is immovable.
No, I was talking about Tobias Harris. I don't think they would take the chance on that. I think they're perfectly fine as they are.
Yeah,
Well,
Tobias Harris,
what
the
team
way he's
needs a
showing
player like
out,
Tobias Harris?
I don't think Tilo. I don't with the way he's playing right now. I don't think many teams want him.
Yeah.
What is his upside?
Not much because he's 28. There isn't that much upside.
He's also going to He's also going to get paid $41 million in 2022.
Yeah, that's not worth it.
Yeah,
he's in the John Wall category, honestly.
I mean, I don't think he's that bad because he's still a decent player, and John Wall hasn't been on the court for 2 years. But
yeah, I know, but nobody wants him though. Nobody's gonna want him. I can't see a team wanting him. Like, we need to go trade for Tobias Harris. I don't see any team saying that.
I mean, I could imagine someone would have interest just because of how
great. Yeah.
You remember how nice he was with the Clippers over that half-year span?
Yeah, but that was when he was getting more free reign though.
I think it was the opposite. I think Doc Rivers, when people say I'm not sure Doc Rivers is a good head coach, that's the one thing I would bring up to against it. Because Doc Rivers really got the most out of that team, and especially out of Tobias Harris.
Yeah, also that team had more spacing. He had more space to work.
There.
That Clippers team. This Sixers team is just cool.
I think there's two real ways to fix the Sixers. Giannis just airballed a 3-pointer, but we can go into that later.